Hi everyone. Imagine the turbulent Caribbean Sea at the end of the 18th century. The American War of Independence is tearing the continent apart, and the British fleet is hunting prizes in these treacherous waters. Among His Majesty's many ships hides a small but spirited brig. She carries 12 guns, a crew of 90 men, and the future greatest admiral in British history. Modest in size, yet immense in legacy, this is HMS Badger. Today we hoist the sails and journey back in time to uncover the story of the ship on which Horatio Nelson took his very first independent command. How did an ordinary merchant brig become the launching pad for the man who would one day crush Napoleon at Trafalgar? Let's dive into this fascinating chapter of naval history. Our story begins in the heart of the American War of Independence. In 1777, the British Navy desperately needed more ships to strengthen its forces on the North American and West Indies stations. In urgent need, the Admiralty turned its attention to vessels available for purchase. One such vessel was the American merchant schooner Defense. We know little about her early career before she fell into British hands, but her fate changed dramatically in November 1777. In Jamaica, the Royal Navy purchased her for the modest sum of £1,540 sterling. It proved to be an excellent bargain, a small but sturdy ship ready for service. What made HMS Badger truly special was that she was never originally built as a warship. She began life as an American merchant vessel. In naval records, she is officially classified as a brig. The key feature of a brig is her rigging. She had 2 masts, both fully square-rigged, with square sails on each. This sail plan made her fast, responsive, and relatively easy to handle for her size. Brigs like Badger were ideal for reconnaissance, carrying dispatches, escort duties, and hunting enemy merchant ships and privateers in coastal waters. She was a small, compact vessel, around 70 to 80 feet in length on deck, with a crew of about 90 men. Although usually listed with 12 guns, mostly 4-pounders, she was capable of carrying up to 16. Like most brigs of the era, she was cramped and uncomfortable for long voyages, but her speed and maneuverability made her highly effective in the shallow waters of the Caribbean. The newly acquired brig was given a name already familiar in naval history, HMS Badger. This was a hereditary name. She replaced an earlier brig of the same name that had been bought the previous year but was soon condemned as unfit for service. Her first commander was Commander Michael John Everett. He brought with him the crew from the old Badger. The ship quickly joined active operations in the Caribbean, hunting enemy vessels. Success came quickly. On the 28th of January 1778, she captured the schooner Liberty off Turk's Island. On the 12th of February, she took the schooner Trill, 29 leagues off Turk's Island. On the 28th of March, Badger's barge captured the sloop Washington off Monte Cristi. And on the 1st of April 1778, she added the brig Dartmouth to her list of prizes. One of the most dramatic episodes came on the 9th of April 1778. Badger chased an enemy privateer all the way until the vessel ran aground, 5 miles from the Bay of Jean Rabel on Saint Domingue. On the 8th of December 1778, an event occurred that would forever link the name Badger to naval legend. A young lieutenant named Horatio Nelson, who had been serving as first lieutenant on Admiral Sir Peter Parker's flagship HMS Bristol, received his first independent command, HMS Badger. He was just 20 years old. Commander Michael John Everett was transferred to the newly captured 18-gun sloop Port Royal, and Nelson officially took command of Badger in early January 1779. This was a huge step forward in his career. As often happens with great leaders, it was on this modest little brig that the foundations of his future greatness were laid. Nelson's first assignment was both challenging and important, to protect the Mosquito Coast and the Gulf of Honduras from American privateers. This region was strategically vital to the British Empire, and command entrusted its defense to this young officer. Although prize-taking luck was not on his side, in 6 months he captured few enemy vessels. Nelson proved himself an excellent diplomat and administrator. According to his own recollections, he won the trust and affection of the local settlers so completely that they expressed deep regret when he left and unanimously thanked him for his service. They even entrusted him with important information about the situation in the region to deliver to Sir Peter Parker and Sir John Dalling in case of war with Spain. One of the most dramatic episodes of this period, which Nelson himself later recalled, took place in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Badger was at anchor when the nearby HMS Glasgow, under Captain Thomas Lloyd, suddenly caught fire. The blaze started from a cask of rum. Nelson immediately rushed to help. Thanks to his decisive actions alongside Captain Lloyd, the entire crew of the burning ship was saved, though the Glasgow was ultimately lost in a violent explosion. What did Nelson learn aboard Badger? This period became an invaluable school for the future admiral. Independent command. For the first time, he was fully responsible for everything: ship handling, navigation, and crew discipline. Diplomacy and relations with civilians. His time on the Mosquito Coast taught him how to work with local authorities and win people's trust. Quick decision-making in crises. The rescue of Glasgow's crew showed his ability to assess danger instantly and act without hesitation. Independent operations. Cruising off Spanish colonies in search of prizes gave him vital experience in conducting autonomous missions far from the main fleet. Nelson's success did not go unnoticed. On the 11th of June 1779, Sir Peter Parker promoted him to post captain and gave him command of the 28-gun frigate HMS Hinchinbroke. It was a meteoric rise for a young officer who, just a year earlier, had been virtually unknown. On the 20th of June, Nelson formally handed over HMS Badger to her new commander, Commander Cuthbert Collingwood. That name would also go down in history. Collingwood became one of Nelson's closest friends and would later command the British fleet at Trafalgar after Nelson's death. Under Collingwood, Badger continued active service until early 1780. After that, command changed rapidly. March 1780, Commander Samuel Walker. September 1780, Acting Commander Richard Story. December 1780, Commander James Cornwallis. From January 1781 to March 1782, temporarily under Lieutenant William Sykes. In May 1782, HMS Badger was finally paid off in Jamaica. The ship that had served almost 5 years in the demanding waters of the Caribbean was sold there in June 1783 for £2,050 sterling. Remarkably, she was sold for more than the Royal Navy had originally paid for her. In a way, it was symbolic. This modest brig not only paid for itself, but fulfilled its greatest purpose, becoming the launching pad for the man who would forever change the history of naval warfare. It was on Badger's decks that young Horatio Nelson received his first true school of command. By the time he stepped aboard his first frigate, he was already ready. The story of HMS Badger is the story of a ship that was in the right place at the right time, a small vessel that became part of a much greater legend. Thanks for watching.